You are now listening to Dear Dope Chick, a weekly podcast created to inspire and energize women to live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Felicia, and here is today's dose of dope. Dear Dope Chick, welcome and welcome back. How you living? How you feeling today? Are you ready today to take some action? What are you talking about? Take some action. For those of you who are new here, who haven't been here in quite a while, or have been rocking with me since day one, Dear Dope Chick is an action-based podcast. So that means that every single episode, you are challenged to take one small step that aligns with living life on your own terms. That means you're taking one step today that aligns with the lifestyle that you most desire. Your future starts today. You've got to have a one-on-one with yourself and ask the real question. Do my actions reflect what I want to experience? Do your current actions align with the lifestyle that you most desire? Whatever you choose to do today is setting you up for your future. So that's why it's important that you live now in the present. The only time to take action is now. The only time to make decisions is now. The only time to start believing that you can and acting on those beliefs is now. While I highly encourage you to take action today, I understand that decision isn't up to me. It's on you. What will you decide? You owe it to yourself to steer your life in the direction that you've always wanted to go, and you can do that for yourself today. Life isn't shaped by the circumstances and situations we faced. It's shaped around the conversations we have about the circumstances and situations we face. So today's action is to change the conversation. We have the power to do what many will call supernatural. Our words, when spoken, can move mountains, can touch and change hearts, and have the power to create life. Does your current conversation reflect and showcase that power? Ask yourself that. Does your conversation right now, the conversation that you're having with yourself, the conversations that you're having with others, do those conversations reflect the power that you have to change life, to create life, to change hearts, to move mountains? Does your conversation reflect that? Is it from a place of power and passion? Is it from a place of lack, of scarcity? Is it from a place of abundance, speaking life, believing that there is so much out there? Is it from a place of fear? Is it from a place of love? Over the course of the week, monitor what you say by intentionally choosing your words. Yes, that absolutely means what you think it means. It means that we are thinking before we speak. Instead of heavily relying on phrases such as, I didn't mean to say that, we avoid that. We're proactive about that because we are using the words that we mean. If that means sitting silently until the right words arise, we're going to do that. And when we speak, the challenge is to speak on what promotes love. Speak on what triggers deep conversation and consideration. Speak on what prompts thoughtful action. Speak on what moves our hearts and guides our spirits. And we're going to speak on what is helpful, productive, and constructive. So what does that look like? Imagine a world where we only contributed to the conversation after we've intently listened to what the other person had to say. Imagine that world. Just close your eyes and think on that. And to take that visual a step further, imagine that before responding, we sit with what was said, and our response offers up words of compassion, words of empathy, and words of encouragement. What visual are you catching of yourself? And what does that conversation sound like? What role do you play in that visual? You may see others. I want you to focus on yourself. What does that visual look like with you in it? And what does that conversation sound like? Imagine having a conversation about what rouses up your passion, what speaks to your heart, and what moves your spirit. What does that conversation sound like? Imagine navigating a situation, and instead of pointing out what you don't like about what you're going through, you speak about your challenges in a positive, constructive way. What does that conversation sound like? You hold the power to change the course of your conversation at any time you'd like. No longer do you have to complain about who wronged you, how life is such a drab, how nothing is working out for you, how life is unfair. There's not one thing in this world that isn't working for your highest good. Yes, even the people who have wronged you or you feel have wronged you are working for your highest good. Other people's actions, including their reactions, are beyond your control. How others treat you is a direct reflection of how they view themselves. It's to not be taken personally. We can't control what they do. We can't control what they think. We can't control how they act. So we focus on what we can control. And what we can control are our own actions. Everything you experience is a part of the lesson, fam. Everything we experience in life is a part of the lesson. Life is constantly teaching us more and more about ourselves and pointing out what we need to work on. For example, let's use the person that's cutting you off in traffic. Let's talk about how they are teaching us about ourselves. They are showing us just how much we're using our patience. The patience that we have inside of us, that we were born with, that we never seem to tap into, or that we have been tapping into a lot lately, is showing us exactly where we are on that scale. How much are we using our patience? They are showing us how reckless our mouths are in times of chaos, how off-centered our minds go when we are in the face of adversity, when situations are not going our way, how we react, our outburst. They're showing us how quickly we rush to judgment. How do you know why they cut you off? You don't know. You're not in their brain. You're not in their car. Does their why even matter in order for us to forgive the offense and let it go? They are teaching us how observant we are. Aren't we glad that we were paying attention to the road? Aren't we glad we saw them cut in front of us and we were able to stop on brakes? That observation sure did keep us safe, didn't it? And just like that, you finessed the hell out of a situation, not only by shifting your mindset and your attitude, but by changing the conversation you were having with yourself about the situation. How did you flip being upset about being cut off in traffic to reflect how well you react in situations? Thank you for keeping me safe. Woo! Now you're grateful. Now you're showing gratitude. You changed the conversation from condemnation to gratefulness to appreciation. Thank you for this life. Thank you for my quick reflexes. Whew, I'm so thankful that I was able to see that. I'm grateful that I am safe right now. The finesse, the art of finessing. All right, hang tight. I'm coming back with my final thoughts after this. Show notes for this episode and all past episodes can be found on a dailydoseofdope.com. That is a dailydoseofdope.com. Join the community, fam. Every day is full of encouragement. We're getting inspired over here, and it is designed to ignite the flame of passion and turn it into action. Enjoy daily texts and emails. Have the opportunity to discuss with other dope chicks and really start the transformation that is living life on your own terms. A dailydoseofdope.com. I cannot wait to see you there. So my final thoughts are this. Turning what you consider shit into gold is an innate skill that you most certainly can hone into your greatest flex ever. The catch is you have to use it. Is life good? Is life bad? Is that situation good? Is that situation bad? That part does not matter in order for life to work in your favor. We have to think about why we label, why we judge, and why we compartmentalize what is happening to us. When something means more to us than another, we feel better about how we handle it. It's a way we justify our actions, a way we control the narrative that we are sharing with the world. For example, let's discuss how we treat our families versus how we treat a fly. Y'all ain't gonna want to hear this, but I say stick around. Many of us kill flies and in turn will make an excuse for killing the fly. Oh, it's just a fly. It was buzzing around and annoying me and everyone else. Is that justification for killing it though? But it's just a fly. It's a bug. But does that matter? When your family gets on your nerves, what do? Do you swat at them? Do you hit them and want to seriously inflict harm upon them? I mean, some of us do, but I digress. This example wasn't designed to compare a human life to a bug's life because they can't possibly be on the same playing field, can they? I'm just talking. Or am I? It's something worth considering. I say all of that to say this. What does the conversation sound like when we approach life without the judgments, without the labels of good and bad, without the expectations that it not only has to appear a certain way, but it actually has to be that way in order for us to accept it? What does the conversation sound like when we decide that no matter what happens, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, that we are okay? That we are still safe, that we are still worthy, that we are still open to possibilities, that we still see the opportunities, that we are still sowing seeds of love, that we are still standing. How does that conversation sound? Life is already handing you enough to consider without adding your labels, your judgments, and your harsh critiques to it. What are you telling yourself about life? What's the conversation you're having with yourself and with others about how life truly is? How can you shift the conversation to reflect how life is always working for you? How life is working with you? How the circumstances are here to uplift you, to elevate you, to take you to that next level? How does that conversation sound? What say you? I appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if you're reading the show notes, for taking the time to read the show notes and actually take them in. I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing out. Thank you for taking action. Thank you for listening. Thank you for considering. Thank you for implementing. Thank you for digging deeper. Thank you for using your brain today, for listening to your heart, and for shifting your perspective. And most importantly, I thank you for being you. I'll see you in the next episode. For more dope messages, be sure to visit adailydoseofdope.com and become a member. Also, cop your dope merch at deardopechick.com and follow us on all of our social media at Dear Dope Chick, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, be you, be dope. Love, P.